This video is made for an adult audience. Hey brick fans, welcome back to the Brick Bakery, where all our jokes are half baked. I'm Jacob and today it's time to continue work on the Ninjago City District in my LEGO City. In my last video, I worked on a comedy club and a pizza shop in my Ninjago City District, and I think they turned out pretty well, but I did have some great suggestions on how to improve them even further. However, I'm not sure I will be attending to those suggestions today because I will be working on the residence building in my Ninjago City District. So let's head over to Bakersville and I'll tell you about this project. Here we are back at the LEGO City, and the Ninjago City District is right here. This is the comedy club and the pizza shop that I put in last time. What I'll be working on today is the area behind the comedy club, which will be a residence. And I actually had a suggestion that there should be a bar on the lower floor of this building, which makes sense to me as there is no bar in the comedy club. So some kind of interaction between those two would be logical. So a bar on the bottom floor and a couple of floors of residential zone. As you can see, I've got plenty of room upwards. This is the lower edge of a picture that's hanging right here, so I do have all of this space to do with. I'm not sure that the building will be this tall though, but at least one floor above this to make it visible from over here. And that means that this will be the tallest building in my LEGO City. Until now, it's actually been the Teal Towers, which is about 3, maybe 3.5 stories tall. This one over here will be taller just as soon as I put in a bar on the ground floor and put in one floor above it. I've also considered different types of details that could be put in here. Maybe some lamps or colorful lamps hanging from small pins out the side of these buildings, maybe going across this little gap right here, which would sort of approach the Ninjago City look a bit more. Further, there's an elevator I need to get done out here, but that will be done in another video. But without further ado, let's move this over to the build table and let's get started. Here we are at the build table and we can really start to take in what has been happening here. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff lying back here, which are small things that I'd like to implement. For instance, here's the old pizza sign from the pizza restaurant that was below the raised section of my city. I am thinking that it should be implemented in this pizza shop in some way. And there's a small overhanging roof, which is an idea I have for this building as well. I just don't know how to implement it. If you have a great suggestions on how to implement a roof like this in some way on a building like this, please let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to hear about it. But I won't be working on this today. Moreover, there are several different kinds of canopies, transparent things from space vehicles and such, which I would like to implement in some way in the buildings I am designing right here in the Ninjago City, because I think these would add something great to the look. I do have a plan to add some kind of observatory or science building right here, and this would be implemented there in some way, and I think this one here as well. This one I don't have any particular idea for yet, but it's just a cool piece that I would like to use. So that's some of the things I would love to implement here. Right now I'm just getting rid of everything so I can actually get started on the bar down here on the lower level of this stage of the building. So here we go, ready to add in stuff on this floor and getting started on the bar. I do have some pieces that I would like to implement in the bar. For instance, this, which is actually an official LEGO Friends piece, a stickered piece. There's a dancing, I think this is a Friends fig, mini doll, I think they are called, which I think would be very appropriate for a bar slash dancing, maybe disco. And there's another side to these, which looks like this. There are two of these with the dancing mini doll on it, but this one has got badly damaged, as you folks probably know by now, I use a lot of used pieces and I buy a lot of random lots, so things are not always in the best condition, but these two sides do look pretty good, I think. So I would like to use these in some way in this bar. But without further ado, let's get to building. Alright, so here we got a rough outline of what this building will look like. You may be wondering why I'm not continuing this glass area over here, but that's because I need to put in a ladder over here so people can get upstairs to the next floor. I have an idea of making small balconies on this side for the residents that's going to be up here, so you can actually continue upwards via some ladders. Ladders and stairs are always something that are interesting to implement and always something that'll add a lot of ambience to your build, I think. It's also something that can be very hard to implement because they are pretty sort of space intensive. They do take up some room in your city. So there are some considerations to be had when you want to implement stuff like that. But I do have an idea of implementing some ladders here. This big window, I think, is a good look for a bar like this. I'm not completely sure if I shouldn't sort of make it one deep and then have something in front of it just to give it a little, you know, give it some detailing, which I think would look good. I think I'll do something like that and then continue working upwards. Yeah, so that's what this building is gonna look like. You have to remember that these two sides will be in the inside corner, so you won't see them too much, which is why I'm not gonna do too much with those on the outside. Maybe on the inside, but not on the outside. So yeah, this is the beginning of the little bar. Here's the outline as it looks at this point. I'm thinking I want to add some interior before I get the walls to be too tall, because if I do that, it's easier to get my big hands in here than if the walls are all the way up where they should be. I've also added some of these bars right here. I don't know, maybe a little on the nose that the bar has bars, but I've also got some ideas to make an overhang that continues down each side, so you'll get this a little more depth effect. It's easier to show you once I get to that point, and yeah, but I don't know, maybe these are too much, but I do think they match pretty well with the overall look in some way. This should be added somewhere, don't know how yet. Maybe sideways, maybe over here next to the ladder, or maybe just up here, which would actually be on the residence building, but the signage could be up here. Who knows? Anyway, I will be making the interior at this point, and then I'll get going on the exterior. Here we go. This is the bar counter inside the bar, so there can be a bartender back here. I of course need to put in a beer tap and maybe a wall of flasks and glass and such, which is very classic in bars. I put a couple of pints here with foamy tops. I think that looks very good. Don't know where I saw this first, but it's something that's widely used. I think these look very convincing as small beer glasses. So yeah, a tap where you can actually tap your beer, and a couple of shelves back here for your drinks and liquors and such. Here we go. I've added in some different kinds of flasks right here. I also have an idea that I may want to have something up here where these glasses can be hanging from. which would be something you see very often, at least in Danish bars. I don't know other places in the world, but often you would see the glasses hanging up here, sort of upside down. I still need to add in the little tab unit, and as you can see, I've also added in a red stripe right here, and I'm thinking that red stripe should sort of continue all the way around, because I think that's interesting. It's a nice sort of what do you say, contrast to the dark blue, the red and the white, so I think that'll work fine. So yeah, that's what I'm going to work on now. There's red stripe all around the bar, very nice. It also sort of pulls everything together, as I only got 1x2s of this dark blue color, and I've also made this little beer tab. Now it's rainbow ale and diamond lager, which I think is pretty cool. I like this little thing. It's very simple yet very effective to communicate what it is. Gonna put that right here. Now, of course, it is going to be pretty crammed in here, but that's just how it is going to be. So now I just need to continue work on the walls, and yeah, we should be good. Of course, I also need to add some kind of seating and such. Of course, minifigures in here would be great, just to add some life as well. So yeah, some tables, chairs and such is coming right up. There we go. This is a small seating area, small beer standing here and a glass of wine over here. I've also added this jukebox, which I made a tutorial for not too long ago. If you're interested in figuring out how to build this, you can check out that video. I hope I remember to put a link up here. If not, you can always find it on my channel. Just look up a jukebox and that should be fine. So there are now music, there's a bar with tabs and some seating right here. I think that's gonna be just about what I can cram in here. Maybe, of course, I'll add, no, not maybe, I will be adding some minifigures, which should be the last touch. And once I get a little farther up with the walls, of course, I will try to add that hanging thing with these glasses right here. And I'll also try to add some kind of picture or decoration or something over on the side here. But other than that, I think this is going to be what the interior will be looking like. Alright, so I have added the last bricks here except one and a few here, because now I've also added some snot bricks here to make a detail that goes down the side here. And I also made the small rack for these glasses to hang above the bar. Now, I'm particularly proud of this one because I think it's quite brilliant. I have no idea if I've seen this somewhere, and if I have, well, that's just cool. Others are more brilliant than me. But what I did was I took one of these snot 1x2 modified, added a couple of pins and just added a couple of 1x1 round plates with holes in the middle, and then a small tile here. And then these glasses can actually hang upside down between the two pins, which I think is quite brilliant. So then I can just add that right here, and they are now hanging above the bar, which I think is pretty neat and pretty realistic too. So now I just need to add some plates, 1x2 plates in dark blue to even everything out. As you can see, there's a slight height difference here, but that should be all right. And then of course a roof, and then we can get going on the other levels of this building. The bar is now finished, and I've made this little detail here, a frame around the window with these jumper plates, 2 studded 1x4 plates, some white plates behind it, and these bars here. And I've also managed to find a way to add that dancing sign right there, so it looks like there's stuff going on. Gives it this very nice cyberpunk-esque look, I think. So now I just have to add some kind of roof so we can get started on the next level. I'm not sure I will be adding 2 floors today, but I will try to get started on the first of the residential floors now. I have been trying to conceptualize this floor up here for the last, I think, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that. And what I'm slowly realizing is I need to think more about this floor up here before I continue. But my time is also running out for today. So I think I'll be adding this back into the city and we'll see how it looks. Of course, this is very sort of sketch-like, very sort of unfinished, but yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. But I do like the way that this is going. I do like the idea of this sort of overhanging little part right here. I think that's a great idea. Other than that, I don't know, maybe the color isn't the worst, but maybe it could also be better. I don't know. If you have any kinds of suggestions of how this residential area up here should actually look, please let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to hear all of your ideas. I will be working hard on this in the upcoming week, trying to come up with a good solution for this, and maybe then we'll see how everything turns out. But let's put this back in the city and we'll see how it looks. Here we are back in the city and we are going to see how it looks when I put back in this. Ooh, it's getting heavy at this point. When I put back in the LEGO Ninjago District. It is very interesting. Now I have a feeling that the darker colors of the bar is actually going to make it very sort of invisible in what I've been building here. So let's see. Here we go. Oops, here we go. And there it is in place. Yeah, as I said, it's going to be very anonymous back there. So I don't know, of course you could go 2 ways with that. You could either choose a very visible color back here and it would be very visible anyway, or you could go with these darker colors and sort of embrace the fact that it's not going to be very visible. I've done the latter part here, not necessarily on purpose, but it is what has happened. Of course, if you added some kind of light in there, it would be more visible. Maybe it's a bit more visible from this side right here. Of course, you can see this sign, which I think has a very neat Blade Runner-esque feel to it. It reminds me a lot of those big sort of digital commercials that you see on the side of buildings in both the old and the new Blade Runner movie. Now, of course, it is gonna be very invisible once I get the observatory done, but that's just how it's gonna be. I'm learning a thing or two about visibility in this type of builds. I don't think I'll ever use this sort of framework again. Maybe I should turn the pizza shop around sort of halfway and make more room. Hang on. Maybe that's a good idea. One idea is definitely to turn this one 90 degrees this way so it has the front pointing out that way, and you'll have a slightly wider street, but you're not going to take too much room from the observatory that's going to be back here. I don't know, please let me know in the comments below what you think of that idea. And what do you think of this in general? As I said, I'm learning a lot of things about visibility in a LEGO city. But with that, I think I'll go back to me and I'll say thank you for watching. Today I continued work on my LEGO Ninjago City District, adding in a small bar. I really like how the interior turned out. It's gotten a bit dark on the exterior and maybe I should change that to some degree. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it because I'm not sure what to do here. Moreover, I've got to think a little more about the upper floors, the residential areas in this building, because I'm a little stumped for ideas here. If you have any kind of suggestions, please let me know about that as well in the comments below, because that's something I really need. I'm also learning a lot about how to make things visible, or rather I'm learning that making things the way I do turns them invisible eventually, because you're just covering everything up step by step, which is a shame actually. So I need to think more about how to make things visible in my LEGO city. But that is all for me today. I hope you'll comment, like and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you guys next Monday.